How's it going? I want to hear from you. I want to hear how your week is going. Give me a thumbs up in the comments if you are doing it and you are on track and you are being bold and showing up ready and working on your calendar and all the things. And give me a thumbs down if you are screwing it and you're like, you're crazy, Amy. I can't believe this. What am I doing in this group? I don't even know. Number one, don't overanalyze. Give me a this emoji if you overanalyze. Give me one of those in the comments if you overanalyze. It's okay. So many of us do. I know that I do. And I've got to keep my head on straight to make sure I take care of those times that I do, to make sure that I pivot and stop doing that, because we don't got time. Ladies, we do not have time to overanalyze. It's not going to get us anywhere. All right. It's honestly one of the biggest hindrances that you can have in your life is to overanalyze. So we've got to keep ourselves focused on the process. If you overanalyze, this is going to, it's going to drain you. It's going to mentally drain you. It's going to affect other people in your life. It's going to contribute to just like ongoing low self-esteem. So it's a this, it's a that. So we want to focus on the process. We don't want to focus on overanalyzing. So how do we stop? If you're like, but Amy, I overanalyze all the time. What am I supposed to do? How do I stop? We're gonna do things like move our body. We're going to write our worries down. We're gonna journal. We're gonna voice record. We're gonna do breath work. I think it was day one. Remember day one when I talked about those intentional ways that you can be present and really focused. Here are some other ways. When you are overanalyzing, hold on to an ice cube. Hold on to an ice cube and watch it melt in your hand. We know that when we hold on to an ice cube, it's going to melt, but do it. It's going to settle you. You're not going to overanalyze after that. Go outside and put your hands and dig them into the earth. The earth has really grounding properties to it. Stick your hands, like, how does it feel? Do you feel anything? Is it cold? Is it warm? Just be intentional about what it is that you're doing. Go swing on a swing. Swing, hear the birds, feel the wind of the swing as you go back and forth, blow your hair, feel your tummy kind of dip a little bit. When I teach, just last week, I was teaching one of my elite classes at the studio, and I was teaching, it was a move that we have already done, that we have done before. And then everyone does it well. They know how to do it. But I taught a different entrance into the move. And it was like blowing everyone's mind. Like they couldn't grasp it. They couldn't get it. I was then struggling to like explain what I wanted them to do. And then I was like, all right, we got to back up. This is what we're doing. Like we're doing this thing, but we're just entering it differently. Do we see that? And sometimes we get in our heads and we just overthink things and we mess it up. It's like, sometimes we're like, is it right? Or, it's like, I'm like, no, your body already knows how to do this. So it's like, everybody stop, do 5 jumping jacks, do like, go like run and touch that wall, run and touch that wall, and then try again. And just allow your body, slow down, be present, and allow your body to do what it already knows how to do. There's a little bit of trust in there. There's a little bit of trust in within overanalyzing. I'll give you another example. Just recently, I was so stressed out about my week. I was looking at my monthly calendar, like, honestly, I don't know how I'm going to get all of this done in the month of May. May is always such a busy month for us and me, and the things that I'm launching and some new things. And it was going to be a lot. I actually set my calendar down after looking at it before May started. And I thought to myself, wow, well, this is going to be really interesting. I don't know if I know exactly how I'm going to achieve all these things, but I know I'm going to. And there was a level of me that was like, all right, I'm beginning to overanalyze, like, where is my time going to come from? How am I going to do this? Blah, 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 right? And I started to analyze all these things. And then all of a sudden I caught myself and I was like, you know what? I need to trust. I need to back it up. I need to slow it down. I need to breathe. I did a little bit of breath work. and I trusted. And what happened was time opened up. Time opened up on my side. Maybe like a meeting cancels on the exact day that you need more time. Like that will happen to me all the time when I just give my life a little bit of trust. When I believe in that and I act as if I've already done it. Before May hit, I acted as if I already had it done and it was already June. And time just opened up. It started to become on my side. All right. So we don't want to overanalyze. We need to make sure that we schedule time to be able to slow down or to not overanalyze. We need to be able to pivot. Overanalyzing is a distraction. So we need to make sure that we're able to pivot in those moments and decide what we're going to work on next. Okay, if you start to overanalyze, you start to feel overwhelmed. What also starts to happen is what happens up here, negative thoughts. It's not a good situation. We cannot live in those negative thoughts. Those are going to hinder us achieving what we want to do. It's going to hinder why you are here. Okay, trust me, it is. So conversation can be on your side, lending an ear to somebody, it could be on your side, make a counseling appointment if that's what you need to do. All of those things can help. So there we are. Don't overanalyze. It's hard. I know, easier said than done, but we've got to take action. And you just have to be ready for it. Like that's the difference. That's the do it or screw up mentality, is like, ooh, here it is. I'm starting to overanalyze. I've seen this before. I'm going to do da 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 da. This is pulling me over here, but I'm not going that way. I'm going this way. I'm taking action. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I got to get back to this. I got to get back to the basics. And you're there doing it. You're not over here screwing it like, oh, let's review down, like, oh, and being caught up in that. Don't let that happen. Take action this time when it starts to happen. Number 2, create visuals. Write it down. Journal. I'll show you guys a live video, hopefully later today, and a separate one, like outside of this, about of my war room. So I don't know if you guys have ever seen that movie. It's called War Room, but it's about a woman who created basically like a prayer room in her closet. I'll just tell you that you should go watch the movie. It's really good. And I just found myself in a space like months ago where I was like, I'm so busy. I am not spending the time with Jesus that I need to and want to. I want to spend time with Jesus. I want to be writing things down. And the way that I'm doing it right now, which has worked for me in the past, was not working for my life then. I had to make a change. I had to pivot. So I did something about it. I didn't just feel like, oh, I don't have the time. Well, I can't do it. I did something about it. So what did I do? I created a war room in my closet. I made a vision board and I put it up there. It's double-sided, and I put pictures in my war room, and I did Bible verses, and I pasted and taped and copied and wrote out things and did this. And you know what? Some days I'm in my war room and my hands are on the wall and it's like, Lord, I need you. I just need you. Because sometimes it's so much, other times I can feel really present there. Anyway, that was my action. That's my visual. I've got pictures of my kids in there. I've got, pictures of things that I desire and want that I'm manifesting in my life in there. I've got Bible verses in there visually written down so that when my eyes go there, I know, I have them categorized by categories. So like if I'm in battle, I've got these Bible verses. If I was need practice, like loving myself, I'll remind myself like how much the Lord loves me. And if I'm praying for my kids, it's the stuff. So I've just got like those different visuals right in front of me all the time. If I have, if I'm training for times I've trained for a pole competition in the past, I visually get ready for that and create a visual of how I'm doing, of what I want. I piece things together in a way that creates a video of what I want. And then I train my body to do just that. And then I take video along the way to make sure I'm visually seeing the progress and where I am. So the first time I did this, what happened is I was like, my expectation was here. Like I made the video, and I was like, okay, these are all the tricks that I want. And these are the paths I want, whatever. I was going to compete. And I ran it through and I was like, oh my gosh, it's so sloppy. I can't get it done in time. Like, I don't have this, I don't have that. Well, what I've learned is now I'm prepared for sloppy run throughs. So when I run, when I prep and I prepare and I train for a routine, and I do something and it's so sloppy and I like end 30 seconds after the song is done when I actually need it to end, I'm like, yes, looks good. There's a start. That's where I'm at. I get excited about that now. I get excited because to me, I know that's where I have to start to get to that end piece, but I need that visual and those checkpoints along the way. All right. So, journal, video, write it down, tell a friend, make a vision board, do whatever is going to work for you. We're going to be taking a deep dive into like visionary work when we do the 90-day reboot. So I'm going to challenge you to be part of that. We're going to take a really, really, really deep dive into this piece because it's so, so important. I talked about vision. I think it was day one that we talked about vision, but yeah, don't just make something visual and then not make it a point to look at it. Visuals are there for a reason. They're for referencing, right? So like in our home, we have a family contract that we sat down and we made, and it's on our fridge. So we can reference it at any time when we go to get orange juice in the morning, when we go fill our water cup, it's right there and we read it and we know what we signed and what we agreed to and what we committed to. I've got the Man in the Arena. If you haven't read, I don't know if I call it a poem or like a saying or quote. It's not, I don't know. I don't know if it's any, I don't know what you call it, but it's it's like a paragraph. I guess I call it a paragraph, but that's on my fridge. And it is that, oh, the Man in the Arena. It is so good. I also have a recording of it, but every single time I fill my water bottle, I have one of those like huge water bottles that I fill for the day. So it takes me a while to fill it. But when I fill one of those, I read that. I read that every single morning. And it reminds myself of the grit and the grind and the yucky and the and at the very end of the Man in the Arena, I won't spoil the whole thing for you. It says that you will separate yourself from those that have never learned defeat or risk, something to that effect. I'm going to let you read it to get the full effect because the ending line is classic. It's the best. And it reminds me that, you know what, this hard work that I'm doing, or, mindset where I think I can't do it, or someone tried to tear me down that day and tell me, try to make me think that I wasn't enough, or the devil's on attack in my home. I'll read that and it just fires me up. And it's like, that's a visual for me to read all the time, every day when I fill my water bottle and think to myself, you know what, I'm setting myself apart and at least I'm taking a risk. And if I fail, I've set myself apart from somebody else that has never taken a risk ever in their life. Because if I fail, one thing that I know about myself, I'll always get back up. I'll get back up every single time. I'm not afraid to fail. I fail all the time. I tell it's like I tell my son that all the time. I'm like, if you fail, like that's something to celebrate. You celebrate that because that's how you get back up. That's how you learn. That's how you grow. That's how you keep moving. So I love that. Buy my coffee. When I get my coffee every morning, I have another piece of a sermon from a long time ago in church, but it basically like talks about how to train up your child in a Jesus-like way. But it talks about parenting. So it talks about things like how to be humble, how to share love with them, like how to apologize when you need to. So every time I'm like waiting for my coffee to come out of my Keurig, that piece is actually by my coffee. And I'm reminded to like apologize if I need to, like be humble today, show my children that I love them, tell them, give them kisses, hug them, just like Jesus did, to practice faith in my home, to do all of those things. So that's another visual, another thing that I read about. And again, my war room, like I'll show you guys that later, but um so like you guys, the greatest thing is I put these all over the place. I also have Bible verses all over the excuse me, all over the place in my room, my bathroom, my laundry room. Like I have just sticky notes and things all over the place. So like when I get dressed in the morning, I'm next to my war room. Let's say I ignored my war room when I was getting dressed because I was whatever. When I go upstairs to get my coffee, I've got a visual there. Let's say I didn't drink coffee, but I'm going to go get water. I've got a visual right there. Let's say I missed all those things. I'm going to walk out the door. I've got a sign that I read before I walk out the door that talks about me being an empowered woman and that I can do what I've set my mind to. Guys, if I miss it, it's somewhere else that I can visually see it. So put visuals out. I challenge you to do that. Like I have drawings from Nevada that I'll put all over. I have like certain things from Alexander. It says like, "Mom, you're the best. Love, Alexander." So I just have those all over to remind myself, like, I'm loved, I'm cared for, my children, things that are like my priorities. I don't know. I love it. So good one. All right. So we are creating visuals. We are breaking. Next up is break down the big picture into small steps. It's good to look at the big picture, but the big picture can be pretty overwhelming and we can tend to overanalyze that. Remember when I was talking to you about the month of May, how I was like, I don't know how I'm going to get this done. I'm starting to freak out, right? So that was like a big picture of the month for me. But instead of like focusing on that and like keeping focused on that process, I took it into small steps and I started to focus on weekly and then daily and then those hourly and then the 15-minute increments of what I could do that day. I'm not going to be able to, I don't know what's going to happen down the road if when I'm looking at this at the beginning of May, I don't know what's going to happen on May 25th. If we don't know. So you can only have to focus on the small steps. And man, I remember, I think I was 23. A woman that I looked up to at the time, I was going through a growth period in my life it was a shift. It was a pretty big shift. And I had been doing some like cleaning out of relationships and I had been going through just like a health change, goals change. Like it was deep. It was a deep time in my life. And it was a lot of change. It was a lot of setting those boundaries, saying no, not being responsible for other people's feelings. And I remember sitting down with this woman and I was like, I don't know if I can keep doing this. Like I don't know. I don't even know how I'm going to be doing this next year. Like this just seems so hard. It hurts so bad. And she said to me, all you have to do right now is put one foot in front of the other. That's it. And after you do that, then the only other thing that you have to do after that is put the other foot right in front of that one. It doesn't have to be a long stride. It doesn't have to be a run. It doesn't even have to be a walk. It just has to be one foot in front of the other. That resonated with me and stuck with me all the way through these last couple of years, going through a really healing and a crazy valley in my life. And all I kept thinking, I could hear her voice say, just one foot in front of the other, just one foot in front of the other. So those small steps. And now I look back and I think, I was just talking with another woman today who was close to me during that time. And she said to me, wow, look at you. Look at you compared to where you were 18 months ago. I mean, I have a 2-year-old. I nursed her. I mean, I was just looking at pictures. I'm like, my gosh, my like eyes are sunken in. I look so tired. I didn't think I could do anything. My mindset was like toast and mush and like blah. And she said, look at you 18 months later. It's just such a beautiful thing to see. And those small steps are going to get you to where you need to go. So looking at that and thinking about, where do I want to be in 5 years? That could be a big picture. Your big picture right now could be 1 year. Your big picture could be that month of May. Your big picture could be a day. So where is your big picture? Know it and be aware of it, but then also dumb it down and small it down to be able to create those small steps. When I started my business, I knew that I wanted to work really hard so that I knew I had 5 years in me. I was going to work really hard because by the time my son started sports, I wanted to be at every game. And you know what? That was my thing. That's what I held close to me. But I didn't focus on the 5-year end game. I didn't focus on panicking or I just focused on the things I needed to do. And every time I did those small steps, I was like, this small step is to get me to that big picture. This small vision is to get me to be able to go to his game. And I'm not joking, you guys, 5 years on the dot, 5 years on the dot, being able, I mean, not right now, he's 11, but when he was 1.5, when I started my small business, and 5 years on the dot was my time to be able to release, let go. I had staff in place, I had managers, and I'm able to go to his games. I'm in a position right now that I can be at home with my children. I can work from home. I can, I can be, I'm present. That was how I broke down that big picture into small steps. This, my friends, I don't mean to toot my own horn, but this is my jam. Breaking a big picture down into small steps is my jam. If you don't already know this, I do one-on-one coaching. You can get more information at amyosfien.com on my website. I want to work with you. If you are ready to do it and not screw it, okay, or do it or screw it. If you're ready to do it and you're really ready to take actions and you're getting serious about, like, you know what? I don't want to just keep talking about this. I want to do something about it. I want to grow. I want to move forward. I want to take this and figure out what I got to do to get there. That is how I built my business. That is how I ran my family to get to where we are right now. That is how I healed. That is how I got through such hard times in my life. That's how I live with grief every single day. Working backwards and having a system like that is my jam. That's how I created a proven system where my small business is able to be franchised across the entire world. That's how I was able to plant other studios to be able to run like a choo-choo train system. That's what I got. Curriculum is my jam. Breaking this down, it's my jam. Look at my one-on-one coaching stuff. DM me for more information. I want to work with you. Let's set it up and let's do it. The time is right now. Let's talk about your homework for day 4. What is your big picture? What is it? What are you after? Write down 10 small steps that you can do to get there. That you can move you in the direction to get you toward that big picture. And I want you to create a visual, whatever that's going to be. Print out something, make a vision board. We're going to go through a vision board on the 90-day reboot that I'm going to do. And here's your journal prompt. Where do you want to be in that big picture? Is that a month, a year? Where do you want to be a year from now? Where do you want to be 5 years from now? Don't overanalyze it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Your homework is, what is your big picture? What are you after? Why? All right. Create a visual of that. Write down 10 small steps that are going to get you there. Your bonus homework is, where do you want to be a year from now? Where do you want to be 5 years from now? Take that, DM me, and let's talk about how I can help you get there. All right, y'all.